Hello everyone, welcome back to Decades. In today's video, we're going to be using up some more of that Berlin footage that I gathered last month. And today we're going to be exploring a hefty location. Specifically, a memorial found in Treptower Park. And yes, I'm going to be mispronouncing everything that isn't straightforward. Not because I'm English, but because I'm stupid. And of course, as you may know, I'm talking about the Soviet War Memorial. This behemoth is one of 3 Soviet World War II memorials within the city of Berlin, the other 2 being located in Tiergarten to the west of the city centre and Schönholzerheide to the north. I wish to apologise for my shoddy pronunciation. It appears I suffer from an affliction known as tourist. The Treptower Park Soviet War Memorial is located sort of to the southeast of central Berlin, and it served as East Germany's central war memorial between its construction in 1949 and the German reunification that concluded in 1991. And the first thing I noticed upon visiting this place is just how massive it is. I'm not entirely sure if videos do it justice, but its scale truly did leave an impact on my mind, just as much as it did on the calluses on my feet. It's a visually impressive, yet architecturally imposing sight. So in today's shorter video, we're going to be exploring it a bit and diving into its history. (1945's Battle of Berlin was a costly affair. Approximately 92,000 German soldiers lay dead, with dozens of thousands of civilians. The Soviet Union's Red Army, despite emerging as victorious as it gets, also lost a hefty number, sitting at roughly 81,000 soldiers, either confirmed dead or missing under the many portions of the city reduced to rubble. With the conclusion of this battle, the Nazi regime had finally been defeated, marking one of the key moments in the end of a 6-year-long conflict that had ravaged Europe. Following the end of the war, Germany, for obvious reasons, would not be allowed to self-govern for quite some time, being divided instead into sections. On the west, you had the United Kingdom, France and the United States, and to the east, you had the USSR. Despite being deep in East German territory and therefore deep into Soviet-occupied land, Berlin as the capital city would also be divided amongst the 4 powers. 3 Soviet war memorials would be constructed in Berlin in the aftermath of the Second World War, commemorating Soviet casualties, specifically the 80,000 that lost their lives during the Battle of Berlin. Interestingly, one of them was actually in West Berlin. To be specific, Tiergarten was within the British sector, and its construction was uncontested. It's worth noting that that memorial was completed in 1945, and therefore East-West relations hadn't quite broken down as much that it would be a problem. So if anything, it was supported. These memorials would also function as cemeteries, with Treptower Park being the final resting place of approximately 7,000 Red Army soldiers. The 3 sites would serve as reminders of the Soviet sacrifice and contribution to the war effort. What stood here before the memorial we see before us today was a large playing field. Initially, a competition would be announced following the end of the war for designing the memorial, which garnered dozens of entries. No one individual would win as such, however several of the submissions would be incorporated into the final plan, one that would take 3 years and the labour of over 1,000 workers, 200 stonemasons and almost 100 sculptors to bring to life. The construction of the memorial would be completed in 1949, officially opening on the 8th of May, a whole 4 years after the conclusion of the Battle of Berlin. The structure encompasses 9 hectares of land, which is 90,000 square meters for those like me who had to Google how big 9 hectares is in a measurement I'm familiar with, only to discover the answer is far less complicated than initially anticipated. So, good news, I know what a hectare is now. At one end you have the statue of a woman symbolising a mourning mother, and as you go down towards the other end you're met by 2 large red structures made of granite representing Soviet flags, and beneath them are the statues of kneeling soldiers. Passing these structures you are met by a long garden with footpaths, with uniquely sculpted sarcophagi-like installations on either side, leading up towards a man-made mound atop which stands a tall statue of a Soviet soldier holding a child, with a lowered sword cutting through a shattered swastika, representing what the Soviet Union wanted the world to know. They were the ones who took Berlin and brought an end to the Nazis' power, and therefore they were the ones who had the final say in the Second World War. The memorial in Berlin's Treptower district wasn't just a cemetery or a commemoration of the dead, it also took on a new meaning going into post-war Germany. You see, the Soviet Union was masterful at producing imposing, intimidating architecture and art installations where necessary. The memorial boasts a symmetrical structuring, a common, simple choice, and yet one that can only be associated with perfection. Not that I'd know the first thing about art, but you get what I mean. Combined with its colossal size and a dominating centerpiece statue of a Soviet soldier bringing about a new era for Germany, slicing through a swastika, the intended message for the people of Berlin, and by extension the rest of Germany, was made abundantly clear. We're in charge now. It's not the only example of a big structure being built to convey communist power, and that's just in Berlin alone. The example I'm thinking about is tall and pointy. In fact, throughout most facets of history, it's been a tried and trusted method of asserting legitimacy, power, and dominance. So perhaps seeing this place being patrolled by a police Opel Corsa was a little bit ironic. But the redundant point stands. You could be anywhere in the world, and if you see a large building, there's probably a Bible-thick book of reasons behind why it exists. But there also may not be. I've gone off on a tangent here. But let's get back on track, shall we? There's either not much information going about the place following the construction of the Berlin Wall, or my research techniques just aren't thorough enough yet, but I'm learning, I promise. However, in late 1989, following the fall of the Berlin Wall, the memorial was vandalised by unknown individuals, with graffiti suggesting an anti-Soviet statement. Following this, on the 3rd of January 1990, 250,000 East Germans would gather in demonstration at Treptower Park. However, East Germany's days were numbered. Following the signing of the 2+4 agreement that would allow the reunification of Germany in the early 1990s, Germany agreed to assume responsibility for maintaining all war memorials within its borders, including this one. And they've certainly kept up with keeping it pristine and in one piece. Confusing Cold War history aside, this is a fascinating place, and I thought it was worth a little video. Think of it as extra content off the back of that Berlin Wall video that we recently posted, because I had so much footage of this place and I couldn't resist giving it a go. I'd like to thank you all for watching this video. We really hope that you've enjoyed, and as well, thank you for 1 year of allowing us to make content on this channel, as we posted our first historical video on the 19th of July 2022, and though it's only the 18th of July 2023 as of finishing this recording, so I may be jumping the gun a bit, but I like to think that we've come a fair distance in that year as far as elevating the quality of the content is concerned, and though that's not for me to judge, I do believe it's because of the massive amounts of kindness and support that's come from everybody who's watched our content or otherwise helped us out in any way whatsoever. So, thank you very much. We truly believe the sky's the limit with this stuff, and if you enjoy history-related content delivered by an unholy trio of buffoons, then please know that you will always have a place with us. Take care everyone, and goodbye.